With the economy doing so well lately, Americans are moving now more than ever. Sometimes it's for retirement or to transfer jobs, but in many cases, it's to start a better life for their family. Check out this study done by United Van Lines. The yellow states are the ones people are fleeing, and the dark blue are where people are moving to. Look at the number of people leaving California, Illinois, and New York. In fact, there's so many people leaving California these days, there's huge waits for moving trucks, and they cost like $2,000. It's true. Today, we're going to specifically talk about the best states to raise a family. Now, people up and move their families to another state for many reasons. Maybe mom and dad got a new job. Maybe the neighbors are weird. Or maybe daddy got fired. For many Americans, moving means a better life for their family. Does where kids are raised make a difference? You betcha. The states we're going to talk about are the places where kids will have the best potential to thrive and where families will be the most comfortable. So pack the toys, the Xboxes, and your old high school yearbooks as we take you through America's best states to raise kids. We unpack our moving truck in the first state on our list, Massachusetts. Hope we remember to pack the snow boots because it's going to be cold again this winter. What makes Massachusetts such a good place to raise kids? A lot of things, actually. Massachusetts ranks third in both health and safety, and in education and childcare. This means the quality of the schools is super. There's plenty of daycares in the state, and healthcare is just about as good as you'll get. Now, Massachusetts is one of the few states on our list today that's considered fun. Everybody's definition of fun is different, but we'll assume the states where there's a bunch of other kids running around is fun, as are the states with attractions like amusement parks, recreational leagues, and parks. Not that kids these days leave the damn couch. All they do is stare at their phones anymore. Now, as we'll see on our countdown today, we're going to spend a fair amount of time in the Northeast. But for now, we're going to unpack way up in the upper Midwest, in the state of Minnesota. The kids won't be too happy about it, but they'll adjust. Now, there's not as much fun stuff for kids to do here as in Massachusetts, but overall, Minnesota rocks when it comes to the stuff parents care about. There's great hospitals here, especially children's hospitals, so when you get sick, you don't have to worry about long lines and other BS as much as you do in states like California. In terms of affordability, Minnesota will let your savings account head in the right direction, up. As you may know, homes cost a lot less here than they do in places like Florida. Now for fun, the kids will just have to learn to love sledding, ice skating, and getting in snowball fights. What's wrong with that? If the kids didn't talk to you for a week when you told them you were moving to Minnesota, they won't talk to you for a month when you tell them you're taking them to South Dakota. It's okay, they'll get over it. The bad news first. Obviously, the fun factor is through the floor. South Dakota ranks 6th to last in a recent Fun Index ranking. Sure, you have enough to keep the kids entertained during the week, but for family vacations, you're gonna have to get creative.
Did you know South Dakota has the second lowest childcare costs?
I did not know that, Mappy, but that's a good point. Mom and Dad will be fired up about that. Mom can pump them out and not have to worry about putting such a strain on the family budget. And life expectancy in South Dakota is the 8th highest in the nation. So Mom and Dad can get all old and gray and crabby. Does Dad fish? Well, fishing
season in South Dakota never closes. Overall, South Dakota's lakes and streams support just about every major species of game fish.
Ask the people who live in South Dakota. It's a great place to raise a family. Just don't bring your BS with you and you'll fit right in. Do you like wide open spaces? How about small town life? Enjoy meat and potatoes? Then Iowa is a place you and your family would love. Here, families earn the 5th highest incomes per capita relative to cost of living, which means Iowans aren't necessarily ballers, but they bring in more than enough bacon to cover their mortgages and car payments. Iowa has the most affordable housing costs in all the land, too. Iowa's also really safe, so you wouldn't have to worry about all the ghetto crap you see in large urban areas. For fun, it's not South Dakota boring, but you'd have to lower your standards if you're used to all the big city hootin' and hollerin'. It's a different kind of fun. You learn to take pride in your small town lifestyle here. They have Adventureland.
Come on over to Adventureland. You're gonna have a fun-filled day.
Plus, Dad will get his haircut at one of a zillion small town barbers. Mom will start baking pies and small town gossiping. And the kids can stare at their phones all day, because that's what they do anyways. Now, if you want some real stimulation, you could always drag the hubby and kids to Nebraska. Okay, drag might be a strong word. How about strongly encourage? If you're thinking about taking the family to Nebraska and you need some proof, show them this. Okay, maybe don't show them that. If you already live in Nebraska, you know, this is a great place for families. It's practically all butterflies and rainbows around these parts when it comes to pace of life. And Nebraska is second only to Iowa when it comes to cost of living. There'd be a lot of other kids to play with too. Nebraska has the most number of families with children of any other state on this list. As long as you're not moving to Nebraska to start a farm, your kids will have plenty of playmates. Omaha and Lincoln each have plenty of family-friendly stuff going on, so you won't completely die of boredom. But mom and dad, you're likely going to lose that beach body at some point. Nebraskans aren't necessarily the healthiest people in the land. Maybe it's all the long winter months indoors, or all the bread pudding, Cornhuskers casserole, and fried tenderloins. You'll just be happy, pudgy, proud parents sitting on your porches, watching the fireflies. We're halfway through our family-friendly list of states, and we haven't even been to the West Coast yet. That's because we're not going to the West Coast. That's because the West Coast sucks. Outside of a handful of Oregon and Washington coastal communities, which might be the prettiest places in the country, actually. Good news, everyone! We're here at our new home in North Dakota. Time to get out of this godforsaken moving truck once and for all. If you thought South Dakota is a state full of vim and vigor, wait until you experience the stimulating state of North Dakota. Okay, seriously, the wife and kids will probably never talk to you again if you move them here. But at least you get to experience all the cost savings and peace of mind of living in the Rough Rider state. Cost of living wise, North Dakota is the best on this list, which is the main reason hardly anyone here lives in poverty. That's also one big reason North Dakota has the nation's lowest divorce rate, outside of Utah. There's a bunch of other factors that make North Dakota a great place to raise your family. The quality of schools is great, and the schools are a big part of families' lives in North Dakota, more so than most other places you could call home. How's the shopping in North Dakota?
Quality, selection, and service. That's what you get the minute you walk through Home of Economy's doors, with a variety of merchandise ranging from tools to clothing, sporting goods, and more.
Okay, so you might not enjoy the shopping. People in North Dakota live there because they like the peace and quiet. So no late night parties in these parts, mister. If the fam wants to rage, that's fine. Just keep the beer cans on your side of the snowbank and you'll get along just fine. Guess what, everyone? We're moving to Wisconsin. Oh, snap. Tell your family you're moving to Wisconsin and you'll be a hero. It'd be a smart decision anyways. Wisconsin ranks in the top 20 for every single category measured. It's not the most boring place in the nation by any stretch. The hospitals and schools are pretty good. Wisconsin's socioeconomics rank is actually 5th highest in America, taking into account family value type measurements like divorce rates, quality of jobs, and family incomes.
Did you know Wisconsin is the 5th most affordable state to live?
Is it really? Wow, that's actually quite a surprise, Mappy. You get an A today. A good, responsible parent takes their kids to a place like Wisconsin, where kids are raised in an environment where they don't sass back or sag their britches. Well, we're leaving the Midwest for good, and we're not going back again. As the moving truck winds across the wasteland of Pennsylvania, we come to the upper Northeast, where we'll remain for the rest of our journey. We unpack our things in Maine, where it smells of pine needles and dead fish. Why Maine, you say? After all, isn't it the 4th most boring state in America? Yes, it is. Isn't it fairly expensive, you say? Not really, it's about average. What really makes Maine a great place to raise your family are the non-exciting things that a responsible parent pays attention to. There's hardly any violent crimes way up here, which makes sense. Much of the ghetto chaos is way down the coast. Families have great health coverage in Maine, and life expectancy is really high. Air pollution's really low, and water quality's great. And schools are some of the most consistently solid in all the land. Just look at how much pride people in Maine take in their jobs.
The Nissen family tradition is quality in everything. The flour, the yeast, everything.
No New England family is more than a few hours from a Nissen oven. We deliver freshness.
We're going to take the moving truck over the New Hampshire state line for a second as we pull into Vermont, our second best state to raise a family in America. Vermont has the best health and safety index ranking in America. Most families have healthcare coverage, and the doctor-to-resident ratio is really low. There aren't any real natural disasters here. Despite long periods of snowfall, things are relatively quiet. Plus, Vermont's the second safest state in America. Part of the reason people move from their home states because of crime. You won't find that here. What's odd about Vermont, though, is despite the fact that on paper it's an amazing place to raise a family, it has the least number of households with kids at home. Why is that? Look, you can pick pumpkins and ride in tractors and golf, and there's a great lake in which to boat. The kids won't get into mischief living here, that's for damn sure. Where's the best place in America to raise your family? Right next door in New Hampshire, that's where. Now, most of your family members couldn't even point to New Hampshire on a map, much less explain to their friends what to expect when they get here. But you know what? Tough cookies. You're the parent. They'll make new friends. New Hampshire and Vermont are just about tied in every category. There's technically a few more things to do in New Hampshire for fun, and New Hampshire's a wee bit safer. Plus, you can say you're from New Hampshire and show off this gem to the doubters.
New Hampshire, the Granite State, extends a standing invitation for all those who would come to share her natural and man-made ways. For New Hampshire is one of the most friendly states in this land of ours.
Who wouldn't want to move there? That looks amazing. So that's it. Our best states to raise a family in America. If you already live in one of these states, consider yourself lucky. If you're thinking about moving away for a job or to get a fresh start, these are your best starting points. What else do these states have in common? They're the least diverse states too. So if you want your kids to grow up in a community with varying viewpoints, then you should take them to places like California or Texas, if you can stand the chaos. The end.